Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. This is a new acquisition. It's a knife that I've bought a few times now, but I did say that I was going to collect this knife. I planned to collect multiple variations of this knife, and I think a lot of people will actually appreciate this because it's enough of a different variation that it might be helpful when you're making your own choice. Thanks so much to me for buying this and paying full price for it. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. All right. I've mentioned multiple times, because every time I show this knife, people are like, why don't they make more? They're impossible to get. They're not. This is now the second time that I have casually strolled into a retailer, not after somebody told me, but after receiving the same notification email that everybody gets, then just casually strolling into the retailer and buying it. No sweatiness, none of that. Just flat out just buying it. So what do we have? We have another Microtech. What kind of Microtech do we have? Well, let's find out. I'll link these in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. But I'll link some places where they do pop up. Can't guarantee availability. But if you're somewhat quick, you'll be able to pick one up. So we have another Ramlock Stitch, but a new one with fluted, wait for it, aluminum. Not G10, aluminum. So this is the newest variation. You guys have probably seen mine, my other one. And I want to report on this. I want to talk about the difference in feeling versus the aluminum and the G10. I want to talk about the difference in feeling of the same exact dimensions of Ramlock that's on the MSI, right? This is the exact same thing. And then, compare it with the original Ramlock Stitch. If you guys didn't know, when I say original, I mean this is still 2023. But it had a different pocket clip. It's one of the first 60. And it had a wider Ramlock. Not thicker, not more contact, just wider. So you can see here, different. Just a little bit thinner on one. Outside of that, they're the same, except for the fact that this guy's got a pocket clip and it's got a filler tab. Some people really don't like the filler tab on the show side. I actually kind of like it. Kind of like that it's there. It just looks very, I don't know, it looks very Microtech-y. So, action is absolutely beautiful. The action is phenomenal. Oh, yeah. Great. Fantastic, actually. Ooh, boy. We still have the M390 MK. Just still want to test to make sure that yeah, we're good. Still want to test. I mean, this one's going to be a user, but I always like to test. I've heard two situations where someone definitely had like premature lock disengagement or lock slip, right? Outside of that, nothing. And I have a lot of people who've watched, my content with these different Ramlocks. I now have 3 of them. And this guy gets carried all the time and this guy gets carried all the time. I've never had an issue. Never. This guy's going to get carried a lot. And if I can get what I want, it won't have these aluminum scales forever. It will eventually get an upgrade. But for now, I thought it might be really interesting to pick up the aluminum. I really like this fluting that they do. It looks nice. There is a noticeable heft, a noticeable additional heft to the aluminum one. In fact, I think what we should do, God, that is really good looking. Man. The all-metal feel and the fluting is just really nice. Now, this wasn't any more than this guy. I'm so glad they do the Stitch with the MSI with the, the reversible clip. I mean, that makes sense, right? God, for lefties to be able to enjoy it. Man, does it feel different? Hold on. No, it's about the same. They're both plenty easy to manipulate. My MSI is really broken in. I think the Stitch still deploys the easiest, and it's just because you have more room up here to get your thumb or your middle finger. Some people don't like the look of the Stitch. I like it for its ergonomics and because it's one of the most wicked looking folders on the market. These are all made in the USA, by the way. These are not Reich collaborations like the Annex or the Silicon Bravo. Those are Reich collabs. These are USA Microtechs. So the MSI comes in at like, right, what is it, $250? The Stitch, for some reason, comes in $50 more. But honestly, still pretty reasonable. I really can't complain too much, especially with the quality that Microtech is bringing to the table here. Now, I really wish that they would do something about, if what people are saying about the heat treat is correct, which I don't know, I can't actually confirm it. But I've heard rumors that the heat treat is not really where some people want it to be. I got to be really careful about how I say that because Rockwell hardness is largely subjective when we talk about, optimized. As Laren Thomas has said many times, geometry will generally be the number one thing you need to be concerned with when it comes to performance in a blade, followed by the Rockwell hardness, which needs to be sort of optimized to the geometry, and then finally the composition, right? Or maybe up or down composition and hardness, right? Depending on what it is. Obviously, that can make a huge difference. But when we talk about cutting geometry, those things can, cutting geometry can play a much larger role in the knife's performance. So if I were to have this tested and it were to come back at 60, for me, that would be fine. A lot of people would say absolutely not. It's got to be 62 for whatever reason. And other people might say, hey, 59 is okay with me. Personally, I don't like to hear about M390 coming in any less than 59. And even 59 is kind of hard for me to choke down. But I don't know. That's my take on the Rockwell hardness situation. Without the equipment to actually test this for myself, I have no idea. And I don't know what their official range is, to be honest. So there you go. Let's go ahead and weigh this. I would actually very much like to find out the difference in weight. Surely there's a version of the MSI that also comes in aluminum. So we'll do them all. The MSI comes in, and G10 comes in at 5.29 ounces. The Stitch, the older version, which I couldn't imagine weighs any more or less than the newer version in G10. This is the Stitch in G10. Comes in at 5.54 ounces. This has got to be the heaviest. Absolutely. It weighs an ounce more? Really? I was thinking half an ounce. Hold on. 5.5 versus aluminum at 6.6, 1.1 ounces heavier for anybody who couldn't do that math. I'm sorry. Yeah, wow. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My plan is to put titanium scales on this. It is only a matter of time before somebody does it. I think we all know who's going to do it, but without knowing for sure that that's going to happen, I can't really say. But yeah, I want this in titanium. I feel like a lot of people do. Now, you can fully expect to pay, I mean, for a set of scales, it's going to be at least $200, titanium, right? Unless somebody in China makes it, right? Then great. If you want to put some Chinese scales on there and pay a little less, fine. But if you want USA scales on your USA-made knife, it's going to cost you at least $200 more. That's just what it's going to cost. So you're turning it at that point into a $500 knife, but if you look at the general competition, I don't know that I'm really going to complain too much about that. As they sit, getting them in aluminum or G10 coming in at $300, I don't think it's a problem. Honestly, I don't know why the Stitch costs $50 more than the MSI. What is the MSI? Am I wrong about it? Is it $275 or is it $250? I can't remember. I don't know why the Stitch costs so much more than the MSI, but I will say, after having handled the aluminum one, I think this fluted aluminum one really is the one that feels the closest to a $300 knife. I love this guy. Absolutely love it. This was sold to me by my buddy Lucifer, and I will continue to use it, right? But holy moly, this is nice. Look how they lift the edges of the aluminum to make this area flush so we don't have the filler tab like hanging over the edge. Because these are contoured scales, guys, which that's not cheap to do. There's a reason that we don't see a lot of contoured G10 aluminum and titanium coming out of the United States. The machines required to do that are, as I have recently learned, extremely expensive. Extremely. It's usually something that you don't see unless the shop is, number one, creating some super duper expensive custom and semi-custom knives. Number two, if it's like a massive company like Microtech that's been around forever and has the capability to do that. Number three, if it's somebody from China, if it's a premium, like an ultra premium OEM from China, right? That's when we see it. So this is impressive. This is really impressive. No blade play up, down, left, or right. Nothing. Absolutely solid. Beautiful action and perfect. Show you there. Perfect centering. Stunning. Very cool. Happy to own another one. It won't be my last. I own 5 Microtech Stitches now. 2 ram locks, 2 autos, and 1 Borka. So yeah, I'm a big fan of those. Definitely. All right. That's going to be pretty much it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.